Hi everybody.
Okay, Gabby, if you want to introduce it and ask in the usual formula for the recording session, or I forget. No.
Exactly. Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. We tell our kids not to do that and I do it, but that's okay. Moving. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to the digital classroom session training with Paula. Are we all aware that we are recording the session?
Yes.
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 Okay, do we all agree on the recording of the session?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Very good. Okay, Paula, all yours.
Okay, thank you, my dear. Thank you. You know, this is not. I wouldn't call it a proper training session, but I think that it's better we call it a discussion because we are all teachers. So there's all ideas that are coming in during this discussion. So of course I have prepared something, but I think that your support and your experience is very important to be, you know, to speak with peers, because to speak peer to peer is much more important than just teaching, than just studying or just following a lecture. This is not a lecture, of course, but it's an open discussion with all of us. Okay, let's start now. Of course, I don't know anything of your previous knowledge about the digital situation, but I'm sure you've done your best during this terrible period, despite our knowledge. So we just are very, usually teachers are very creative, especially, I think, especially English teacher. Let me tell. And so I'm gonna share my screen immediately.
Aujourd'hui, je veux vous parler de ce qui a un peu terrifié beaucoup d'entre nous ces derniers mois et qui, semble-t-il, est une des priorités du monde d'après, prendre du poids pendant le confinement.
I'm sorry, I have something that's mine that
et éventuellement perdre
I
le
have to
poids pris en
stop. Oh,
confinement.
I was wondering why we were hearing French.
The enemy is watching us.
It was my fault. Sorry.
No problem. That was fine because I was saying.
I was like, Barb, please translate.
Yeah.
I thought it was Paula, and I was wondering why is she doing something French?
Well, I was thinking the same about myself. You know.
Okay.
I say, was it in English? Okay. Okay. Let's start. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the digital classroom. Change of medium or change of methodology? What do you think about this title? I would say something before. So, using any course book or any reader or any other digital tool may not fundamentally change the way we teach, of course. Although these technologies offer learners a range of tools that can enhance the learning experience, is this way really different? Does it require different methodology? Does it have an impact on classroom management? Last events witnessed the need of an honest discussion on tools, methodology, and the way we can improve our approach. So just to start, I'd like that you tell me, which are your ideas? Do you feel as a different teacher when you are under a screen, behind a screen, or when you are in the classroom? Can you, anybody answer me?
Okay, I'll
different.
Please, Debbie, please.
Yeah. Okay, well, from let's say an attitude point of view, I must say I'm not different, but I am different in the way I teach. My teaching style changes. Of course, being used to methodology based on movement, based on interaction, based on peer-to-peer learning, it can be difficult to get your objective, to get your goal through when you have a monitor in between, when you're not physically with the children. I feel though that there are ways to keep kids engaged and interested. What I could tell from the experience I've had, kids are very, very engaged through visual material online. That keeps them there. And what gives them that little plus is if they can interact with the social media, which means the sharing of screen. Of course, this is for older kids. It would be from 8 on. If they can share the screen with you and they can interact on your screen, there you go. You've got an engagement right there. That's my personal experience with teaching online. From a class management point of view, yes, it does change. Not being there physically and being the kids in their own, let's say, comfort zone at the house makes it really difficult to manage them. And what I can say, what I didn't like about myself during the online teaching was my strictness at one point. Very,
Of course, you have to be more strict.
Exactly. I became just very, very strict at one point, just to let the message through. This is not permitted.
Yeah.
We worked on respect by saying, I respect you, you respect me, we all respect everyone. But of course, the kids are in their own comfort zone. When you're working with, let's think, 6, 7-year-olds, parents aren't there. You know, the little kids, the 3, 5s, parents are usually there helping them. But with the older ones, they're just left to themselves.
Left alone, yeah.
So this is my experience. I would like to hear Valentina's experience though, because she did a lot of teaching too.
And I was thinking about that. I think class management is very, well, challenging online because you can't give them the dirty look. Like that usually helps keeping the old things down. And they don't even see you. They can just change pictures, change all the screen view. And so they cannot feel right there when you're getting a little bit, not angry, but you're not kidding anymore.
Yeah.
So that's one point. And yes, they're in their comfort zone, so they feel like they can do whatever they want because it's permitted. It's in their, well, if I want to go to the bathroom, it's my house. So you have to be more strict. I think well, it's natural that you're strict when you're online. Well, if you compare it to how strict we are in the classroom, in the traditional classroom, of course you have to do it a little bit more, well, more rules, because otherwise they just...
They are different rules. They are not...
Yeah, different, yes. But they don't push each other, at least. Yeah. So unless they're brothers, because they did that too. So they were pushing each other.
Yeah. Of course. But, okay, so just a few days. Anybody else want to tell? Barbara?
online teaching on their own these days? Barb, you did some.
I did something. I feel I'm different. Well, thing is, I'm pretty physical. I tend to touch the kids, to stop them, I use touch a lot. I use turning around and not looking at them and things like that, which I can't, all the nonverbal is limited.
Exactly.
Part of it is maybe even enhanced, but part is limited, and that's what I miss.
Yeah, yeah.
Today I was doing a lesson with one student, but that's nothing to do with Play with Gabby. It's a 16-year-old. And I was doing it on Duo instead of on Zoom.
Yeah.
And something wasn't going right. I mean, he's a good student. No need to control him. But I noticed that Duo gave me a smaller window for my face. So when I was gesticulating with my hands, he couldn't see. And that's a problem. And I had never thought of that. And I told him, okay, tomorrow we're doing Zoom. Because if I want to suggest you something like slow down or a number or something, or well, he could see, but many things he just couldn't see. And that's, you have to think that you have a smaller view. Campo di vista. I don't even know it in Italian.
Campo visivo. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
But with the older ones, when it's only one, I feel that you can get them to concentrate even more. At least me, I'm able to, but not in a group. I find it so difficult with a group, especially small ones.
Small ones is difficult anyway, because you have to keep that feeling on the whole lesson long. So you cannot have any pause even when you are physically there. But especially now, I mean, the poses are the real problem of those media. Anyway, now let's switch a bit with English and Italian, because I want to mention an article that just this professor, Mario Pireddu, from Università degli Studi della Tuscia, but he was a professor at Roma 3. I met him there, and he was my professor as well. And despite the fact that he's very young, because he's less than 40, but he's really a great professor. And he wrote this article that you see. I don't want to read the whole article to you. This was just the incipit of the article. But first of all, is just point out to some very important thing. For example, the thing that the distance in teaching has been improperly defined as social distancing. It's not social distances, it's physical distances. Because actually what we do is really the social, we work in the social network. So there's at the base, even when we use terminology, some of them, they are completely wrong. That means that even people that are now using those technology, sometimes they're not actually aware of what does it mean, this kind of technology, and when it started, because it's not something that is arriving now because of the virus, but it's something that is on, and we are studying on it for more than 30 years. And so this is very important. For example, you see here, these 3 points actually are what we are, and then we close this discussion and we get on to the details and the tools. So, l'aspetto più importante per l'apprendimento online sembra non risiedere più in qualcosa che manca o è assente. La presenza è intesa come compresenza fisica in uno stesso spazio, ma qualcosa che è presente. Che cosa? L'interazione, la possibilità di costruire dei percorsi partecipati con al centro l'esperienza del soggetto che apprende. Per cui smettiamo un po' di pensare a una mancanza, ma pensiamo a qualcosa che invece è ben presente. Alcune tecnologie informatiche sono alla base di percorsi di didattica online e nelle intenzioni dei loro progettisti sono nate non per la necessità di colmare appunto queste distanze, ma per quella di migliorare la qualità e le modalità di cooperazione tra le persone, per cui utilizziamolo in questo modo. E questa è la cosa più importante, che l'essere compresenti, ma qui penso che andiamo a sfondare una porta really wide open, l'essere compresenti fisicamente non garantisce di per sé un apprendimento migliore rispetto ad altre condizioni di presenza. A fare la differenza non sono le tecnologie utilizzate, non è la LIM, la lavagna, non è niente di tutto questo, ma siamo noi. Ovviamente siamo noi in questa dimensione di connessione che non dobbiamo assolutamente perdere una volta che passiamo con un mezzo tecnologico che non ci permette di avere una vicinanza fisica, per cui dobbiamo sempre essere molto presenti a noi stessi, che la differenza la dobbiamo fare noi. Io vi invito a leggere all this article, and I put the link at the end of this presentation where there's all the article,
Wait.
and that is in Italian, but yes,
All-
tell me.
All them at the end of the course. She is sharing all the material. It's going to be on the Google Drive, so you can go back to it, see it, whatever. Listen to the recordings again, do whatever you want with it, okay?
Yeah, I can send you this PowerPoint, for example, but I will send you, of course, all the recording of this session. And if you want, I also have just the audio, if you want to just listen to it. For example, if you go around and you want to keep in mind something, I also have just the audio of our discussion.
Good.
Okay, so this is actually the question that we've already, some of you did just reply. So therefore, what kind of teacher are you actually, and which tool can you use? What is your classroom like today, and what was before March? So the third question, Gaby and Barbara and even Valentina already answered me. So if you want to, but which tools can you use? Because it's important to know which tools, we can manage them. But anyway, I don't want to know which tools. I want that you reflect inside yourself and you think, yes, I can use this, you know, like making a list.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's get together into some theories and some practices to use any tool you can have in your own way. This is very important. It must be your own way. You know what is called the acronym?
Yeah, I know what it is. I don't know the acronym.
Okay, it's computer assisted language learning. It's not valid just for English, but it's for all languages.
Exactly.
So, yeah, the field of computer assisted language learning, CALL, has been around since computers first made their way into classrooms. And there has been significant research over the past 30 years on how best to incorporate technology into the language learning experience. As educators, we should use computer or mobile devices, tablets, smartphones, etc., anything, to help enrich the classroom experience. In other words, we should use technology to let people interact with other fluent speakers, record themselves completing authentic tasks, use software and application in the target language, or access rich multimedia resources. I put here a little note on authentic tasks, because I don't know if you have used this terminology of authentic task. I'm not getting into the details, I'm just mentioning it later on. because this is something that is much more valid for adults, not for children. But even so, anything I mentioned, I wanted you are well aware of what we are talking about. So we should use computers to help track learner performance to give more tailored, helpful feedback. Computer programs can let us see what activities learners complete and how they are performing on them, so we can give them tailored instruction wherever they need it the most. We should use technology to extend language learning in and out of the classroom. With social games, social media, and other collaborative tools, we can use technology to give learners rich communicative experiences with fluent speakers when they're not in language learning classroom. In short, when teachers use technology to solve a real problem, rather than using computers simply because they are available, so let's use it in the proper way, core research has established that we see improved outcomes. Teaching English online is a natural extension of COL and incorporates many of same theories and practices. Teachers have access to a wide variety of tools to enrich language learning, which are often available via the platform on which they are teaching. As you navigate this course, this discussion, keep in mind that many of the same best practices teachers use in traditional classroom to incorporate technology and other aspects of language learning can be adapted in the virtual classroom. So I think that many of you already use those tools in the physical classroom. I don't know if you use the LIM, for example. Do you use the LIM in your classes?
Oh, we don't. The idea of these sessions are because I felt there is a need to include some digital practices in the classroom, considering what I observed with the children during lockdown, the way they were engaged into videos and visuals and screen and interaction with the screen just made me think, and the interaction between the physical person and the screen made me think that maybe mixing both methodologies, both aspects could be a good idea to enhance the methodology and enhance children's learning.
It is definitely. I can confirm it to you because since let's say a couple of years ago, in a school where I go, they put the LIM in each not primary class, but even in the kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
So I have made this experiment. So I got their homogeneous classes. So I got one class of 3, one class of 4, one class of 5. And I have to develop a program, a project that should be more or less the same. For example, we got a theme to develop for the end of the year that can be food or can be anything. And I'm trying to make different lessons according to the age of the children. And from this year, I have prepared, unfortunately, it was just up to February, but I have prepared the lesson that I was starting physically with me. And then at the end, I was preparing a short video, some videos that I took, so many stuff. And they were expecting it, and actually it was even a very good mean to calm down them, because, you know, when we do the physical activity, of course, you know, they start to scream, moving around and doing what they have to. At the end of the lesson, when I asked them to calm down, sit down on the floor or on the chairs, it depends on the class, and watch a video, usually a video that is representing the same thing that we have done up to now, they really relax and learn much, much better. So actually, that is something that I can tell you.
Yeah, it can't be escape like an escape room, which means that well, not an
Yeah,
escape,
too.
an,
Yeah,
an
it's
path. I mean, it can't be. I don't want to. I don't want my teachers to misinterpret the meaning, which means it's not that you put the kids in front of
no, because you have to stay there.
exactly.
But if you have some weak points, that, for example, I can say there are some teachers that they don't know how to use a choreography with the body. So when they start to sing a song, of course, you know how important it is to move your body and to make some gesture that are the proper one. But probably you don't know because, I mean, you cannot be 100% on each skill. So they found a video of your song that you sing with your children where there's maybe a kid instead of a teacher that is moving in a nice way. So we all watch the video together and the teacher is the first one dancing and moving like the teacher on the screen.
Okay.
That is important, but it's a helping hand. Or if your voice, not all the teachers, they can sing, of course. But I put this person or these children, they are singing very well, and I sing maybe just very low because my singing is not good and they don't realize. But with the help of the video, they follow you moving and the video that has a good tone, a good music for them without, you know, you're not out of tune. they don't realize it. And this is, I think, one of the, just a few of the many ways we can use. So what are the task-based lessons that I was mentioning you? They are teaching sessions organized around the learner's need to accomplish, not specific point. For example, instead of creating online lessons for the simple past, the present perfect, or other structural aspect of the language, in a task-based session, you would choose a task or a number of tasks. I think this is something that you already do, but probably you don't know this definition. And create your own lesson around this. Some example of possible tasks in a second language course could be ordering food at the restaurant, filling out medical forms, ordering a coffee, paying an electricity bill over the phone, or making a hotel reservation, just to name a few. So it would normally do in an online session is design activities that would build up to the learner being able to complete a task. That means that probably, I mean, this is something that of course you already do. It's what we call active conversation. And of course, in the conversation is full of other structure that you can teach. But we are not going to speak about task-based lessons because, as you can understand, this is something that is much more suitable for adults learners. For children, we can do it, but we already do because the methodology we all use is doing. So of course, doing is already a task. We don't need to have a theory that is explained as the task-based lessons because we are not gonna learn and teach grammar, for example, to very small kids. So I think this is something that is more appropriate for adults. Mm-hmm. And let's get into our kids, happy kids. Now, a checklist. Let's try now to think of organizing an online session. I think a checklist is very important. In this little presentation, I was thinking of traveling around. So what do I do when I have to do my trip around, going around, taking a flight, especially if it's a long haul flight? I always do a checklist, what I have to bring with me, what I need, the same thing I do before and prior each working session online. So when you teach a traditional classroom setting, you most likely make a list of things you need to bring to you, okay? If you don't write on a list of paper, you probably at very least make a list in your head. I'm sure you do. For example, maybe you know that the classroom you teach, it doesn't have markers, or those markers always missing, and you must bring your own. So you may make a mental note to remember to bring the printed handouts you need to give the students. Photocopies, which school, which places where we teach has got a photocopy machine that is just available for us. Very few, very few. In any case, you do your best to remember to bring those things, because you know that the class would be very difficult, if not impossible, to teach without them. And even to have some good alternatives if the lesson is not that you were thinking of is not possible to get. So when teaching a live class online, it's equally important to be aware of the tools and materials you will need to conduct a successful class session. I'm sure you remember what is your first in-person teaching experience was like, and all the stuff you had to remember to bring with you, apart from planning your lesson beforehand. Online teaching is no different and still requires prep work. And there is a variety of important items and processes to remember before starting each online session. The following checklist will help ensure that you are well prepared for your live online class session. So let's see what we need before. One, of course, a stable high-speed internet. Unfortunately, we cannot keep in mind that the connection must be stable, not to cause interruption to your class session. I don't know if you realize, if you have noticed that my background is different from last time. Last time I was in another room, but in the last 2 days, the connection in that room wasn't so good. So I had many problems to have my connection from that room that is far away from my modem. My modem now is just here right next to me. And I moved here because here I got a stable high-speed internet connection. And this is very important, of course. A quiet place. I know that is obvious, but we have to remember it before. Make sure that you create a welcoming learning environment by ensuring that your classroom space is free of excess noises, traffic, pets, children, TV. I know not always is possible, but try to do your best. Even a background that is promoting learning and supplements the content. I mean, but even to have your water near you, your coffee, whatever, because of course you have to remember you can't get out, stand up and go and leave the audience without you. Remember that we don't have pauses usually on the internet. Have your lesson outline or plan in front of you. What does it mean? You know, here we got some notebooks and some post-it, something, because it has to be accessible, that you can refer back to it as needed. Sometimes you just need, especially if you got a long or a good variety of activities that you have prepared. Sometimes in the hustle of, okay, the connection is not good, we can lose the complete program. We are not in the class, and this is one of the moments that we really need help. And a good help is always having our project in front of us. 4, test any links and have them ready. Do you remember in the other session we have some links and I was just clicking on them and you were immediately connected to the right pages. Of course, before doing that, I have checked out all the links, because some links that you probably can have available one day, in a month can disappear from the internet. So you have always to, when you go external. And another thing that is important is make sure that the link open is in a new tab, because sometimes they switch from your tab to the link tab. That means that your original tab has been closed and the internet is open in the link tab. So you have to go back. I mean, it can be not really immediate. So be careful doing that. Test internet, of course. We have to test it, even if we have high speed. But of course, this is something that you know. You can use even a hotspot function available near you. I always have my smartphone because you never know, anything can happen, the electricity or anything can happen. And it's so unpleasant that you just say, oh, I'm sorry, the line is gone. No internet connection. So try always to have an alternative. Now, I think we are ready to prepare our session. Do you think planning and timing class activities is essential to student engagement?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you all do. And here we are back to our imaginary traveling around the world. When you travel long distances on an airplane, you can keep yourself entertained if you plan out which devices you will use, what you will see, and how much time each TV show, movie will consume. If you do this strategically, then you will most likely not get bored. Likewise, if you efficiently organize and time activities accordingly, your students will not get bored during an online session. This is, I think, that you already do, but we have to even think of how long does it take this activity? Okay, and keep your watch nearby. Of course, in the computer, you should have always the time. But for example, if you decided that an activity has to be for 15 minutes, especially with small kids, your activity, there should be vary very often your activity and not too long activities. So no more than 10 minutes for each activity. And if they want to, you know, sometimes kids, they say, oh no, can we do it again? Can we do it again another time? And let's play another game. Of course, sometimes you have to say yes. And sometimes, like you were mentioning, you have to be strict because sometimes it's not possible to do it. But this is something that all teachers do usually in their classrooms. No differences between the physical classrooms and this classroom. So this is the same that as teacher, we're always looking for different activities and materials that we think we would keep our students engaged. And online teaching is no different. An online classroom, it can actually be even more challenging to keep students engaged because you may not be able to see their facial expressions, what's going around them. And you know that sometimes their families, they are not helping, not because they don't want to help, of course, but because their life is continuing. And if the kids are in the kitchen following your lesson, probably the mother is on the telephone and she doesn't realize that her voice is coming directly into your headphones. So I know that these are real problems that we have to face anyway, but the most we are aware, the most we can face them. So the good news is there are actually quite a few things we can do to keep our students engaged in an online session. So there are anyway 3 major things we have to do, which are, and I think you already do. Number 1, screen share was the first thing that Gabby was mentioning, the screen share. So screen share, mutual screen share as well, that can be even a bit more dangerous, but it works. So screen sharing is a great option because the student will feel like you are there, sitting next to them, controlling the screen, showing them what you want them to see. You can show them graphs, charts, photos, or simply give instructions on how to do a task using their computer. So use a platform where the screen share is allowed, is permitted, like Zoom, but many others they do, even Skype, or there are so many. And if they are bigger, I mean, probably more than 8, 10, you can even ask them to share their own screen. This, of course, for some of them, they're very quick. It can be dangerous in a funny way because they start to use it even when it's not needed. But give them time to learn, and probably the first lesson will be chaotic, but just from the second, when they are aware of the tool, they will use it properly. I think this is very important. Even this one was Gabby mentioned, share audio or video. They are very visual, they need it. Especially so if we share. We all know that when we show videos in class or even play videos, students usually remain engaged, as audio and video are excellent tools when used to assist someone in the learning process. So we've already spoken about, and I see that you agree and you already do that. You see, this is a video taken from this is me. But even if you show something that you got on YouTube or wherever, or your own videos, it would be even better. Number 3, use chat features. You can use chat features to communicate with your student using text. To share notes feature on many online platforms allow you to do this, like Zoom. If it seems like a spot on Zoom, but it's not. It's not. It can also serve as a very helpful tool if you or your students are having trouble with the microphone or sounds. Think of the chat feature as a virtual whiteboard. So, for example, yesterday I had a meeting. We were more than 20 people, and some of them they couldn't hear, so they were writing on the chat, and it was fantastic. I mean, it's so important. Sometimes with kids, I just close the chat because, of course, once is usually it's the same. If they start to do in chat and speaking by themselves, you just close the chat, no problem. And they say, "Oh, why you close it?" Because now it's not the moment for chatting, it's the moment of doing something else on the computer. But this is probably what you meant when you say, I have to be more strict. I know, they say, why? I remember a lesson some weeks ago. Why you were closing the chat? I was telling something. Okay, tell me now. Yes, but it's not the same. I wanted to write down. No problem, darling. Next time we will open again. So just always smiling, because even when you are strict, but you are strict smiling, I think they don't care. They want rules. They do ask for rules. And even with a computer, it's a new thing for them as well. So if you are teaching them how to use the tool, I think they're just grateful to you. Now let's get into the pair work. Okay, before going on, I'd like to know if you got some question, some notes, something that you want to add, some experiences that you want to share. Please do now, because now we are going into the second part, speaking about pair work.
Just
Yes?
one thing.
Tell me. Tell
Zoom
us.
has the characteristic of having a whiteboard.
Yes.
So Zoom does have a whiteboard. What I found difficult with Zoom's whiteboard was that it was only written. Okay, so
Yes.
it is good when, let's say, you want the kids to remember a sentence or maybe jot something down. But what I found really useful was screen sharing with Word.
Yeah, of course.
Because
You
Word,
realize your own whiteboard. I do the same, even because you can put very large font, using a large font that they can see.
you copy paste pictures
Yeah.
and use visuals while you're writing. And if you have it already made up, it's even better. You can do like word matching things where you show them the vocabulary and the pictures, and then you stop sharing, you mix it all up in your Word file, and then you share screen again, and then they have to match the pictures to the words. So I found that very, very useful.
Yeah, that was in fact the first point of the presentation. Screen sharing is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important because you are not just sharing what you're doing now, but you are sharing your complete device. So they even watch you moving around, looking for something. When you look into a file and they look for you, oh, teacher is there, look. Maybe I open a file where there are something like 100 documents, and I'm looking for the documents called colors, and I can't find them. They say, yes, it's there, you see, because that is becoming really interactive with them, and it's very important. Thank you, Gabby. That is really basic. I think that is important. I'm doing it even in the physical class, because in my physical class with bigger kids, let's say primary school kids, usually I have my computer on that is connected to the projector like a limb. I always have it on. And so I'm using it quite often, not always, but often. And so passing on to a complete digital lesson for my kids, for my private kids, has not been so terrible because they were already used to it. But sharing the screen is, I think, really, really important. Do you agree, other teachers? Have you already done? What is your experience?
Well, not much, but it is true that sharing the screen, it's just, I don't have a blackboard, so I share the screen. I mean,
that's it. Yes, blackboards disappear from classes. We are lucky if we have a whiteboard, you know, with a...
Yeah, well, and I don't have a board of some kind.
Nothing. Okay.
So at first, when I began, I thought of buying a small board.
Yeah.
But then I found
that you can cancel and write on. Yes.
Then I saw that screen sharing is much better for many reasons.
And
well,
they love it.
Both maybe, so it depends on what you have to do, but
yeah,
it's I'm
even, for example, when you're doing something about spelling is fantastic. Yeah. If you can show, I mean, if I say A, E, I, of course, if they watch it while we are telling, yes, do the spelling, and they do the spelling, and I write it down so they can even realize their mistakes. So yes, I agree. Okay, let's go on pair work. Of course, we are speaking about some classes. I think it's a great way to encourage student-to-student communication in the target language, but can present challenges in both the traditional and virtual classroom. For example, to the differences in personality types, students may be reluctant to work with a specific classmates, especially if you're bigger, let's say even 10, 11, 12, wow. An opposite example would be a scenario in which two students are good friends and always want to work together. And when they do, they always talk about something off topic, speaking the native language if they share the same one, and as a result, do not benefit from pair work. These are challenges that can be experienced in all types of classroom setting. So, in an online classroom, implementing pair work in an online learning can present a unique challenge in that classes are often much smaller, and students may, but often do not, know one another. In these cases, students might be even more hesitant to work with someone they do not know, or they might be more willing to do so since they have a sort of anonymity. If you do not have regular students or classes, make sure to provide some time, even if only a few minutes at the beginning of class, for students to meet one another. Encourage active engagement from the beginning of the class. Set clear expectations for speaking and working together. That doesn't mean to tell what we are going to do in details, but let's present ourselves, speaking with smaller kids, even in the native language, of course, to present ourselves, to get into a real group. I don't know, I prepared this stuff without thinking of an ideal class, because I don't think it exists, an ideal class. But we do, as private teachers, we do teach in such a variety of classes, and we can even be, we have to be prepared on any kind of class. And on, of course, online is not so different.
Yeah.
So if you're teaching in a class that meets for multiple sessions or even a full semester, it could be, but here, for example, we made for 3 months, considering use discussion boards, forums, or social groups as a way for students to get to know one another. This
Paola.
will, yes?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but just a second, I just want to add in just one little thing for my teachers.
Yeah.
On the peer-to-peer work, okay? There is, it is very, very, as you said, it's very difficult to have them talk to each other in their language, especially, I mean, in the second language, especially if they know each other and they're friends and they've got all the school chit-chatting going on. What I think is good is when you have group, let's say group communication, as in we demo the structure we want the kids to acquire and to produce, as in I will ask another teacher or a strong student, I will ask, for example, I'm giving you just a very simple example, how are you today? Okay, and this student will say, fine, thank you. And then this student will ask someone else, how are you today, Paolo? And Paolo will say, fine, thank you. And there you go, you've got peer-to-peer communication.
That's the chain, yeah.
Yeah, it's the yeah, exactly. It's
the chain, yeah, that's perfect. That's another way, yeah.
Peer-to-peer communication, but at the same time, you get to monitor.
Yeah.
And make sure that they're on the let's say they are producing the language and they're right on track and they're not fooling around in their language. Another thing I must say about peer-to-peer, to avoid the chit-chatting going on, always remember to monitor. Stand up, go around. If they have like a certain pattern they have to use, just giving you another ordering at the restaurant. Okay, so one is role playing, one is the waiter, the other is the customer or the client. And so you have a certain script that maybe you've given them on the board or wherever they're holding, or they have their ditto paper, I don't know. And always make sure you go around and listen to what they're saying. That's another good way. If you just tell them do it and you leave them there, they will resort into talking Italian and they won't do it. Or they will say, okay, we're finished, we're done. Go there and you say, okay, can I hear, please? Okay, and stuff like that. I'm sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt, Paula. I just wanted to.
No. It's important that we do it because, you know, it's an open discussion. So that is important. And of course, what you say is very important and is something that you can do in a class. So as we are thinking about the digital class, we cannot pass on through the children and onto the students, and we have to find alternative ways of checking them out. Yeah, sure. And so I'm just suggesting a couple of yeah, you were saying?
Chain. You can
Oh,
do
the
chain.
Yes,
Yeah,
but the chain is different. It's something completely different.
Mhm.
And this speaking, the pair working usually, of course, is for grown-ups maybe.
Mhm.
But I have tried it to class of 9, 10 years, and they did work very well. It worked very well. But of course, you have to be careful. As you say, you have always to check what is going on. So letting them know, this is just presuming that they don't know each other. And so it's important for them because now they all use social. They say sometimes board forums, but you know, it depends on what kind of platform you're using, because some platforms, they do have social forums, but better and easier is social groups. I'm sure that each class that you are working with, they got a WhatsApp group. Or you can have, with bigger kids, a Facebook closed group, used and managed by you, of course, where you put all the materials that they can use in the class and during the lesson. And so they, you know, is something that you are not just they're not just waiting for the lesson to get involved. They continue to get involved even when the lesson is finished and before the lesson has started, because they have this social protected, very protected ambient where you are managing everything. And this is actually working with let's say children from 8, 9, with teenagers, of course, is fantastic, and adults, of course. So what about if you're working on one-on-one, like Barbara was saying, with a student, pair work, of course, is impossible. However, you can still maximize student talk time, and those fulfill similar goals as pair work. Make sure that you're asking the student to participate at each step of the lesson, even if you are alone with it. Allow them time to answer and ask open-ended questions. Provide them with opportunities to assume the lead role in a pair activity and work alongside them as a peer might. How to make these pairs, but not just pair, even groups, even small groups, working in small groups. So they can be accomplished by means of pair work if the teacher implements the strategy of switching pairs each activity. This is important. Like when you say, just stop in the chatting and you go around them to stop them, just if you change pairs each time. When students know they will have to change partners, they won't get too attached to one person. Likewise, they won't be too disappointed about working with someone they don't like because of, no, I don't want to stay with him. It's a male. I want just to stay with girls. How many times have you heard it? Also, it gives shy students or students who always tend to get dominated by others in a conversation the chance to speak more, especially if they are paired with another shy student. Likewise, students who are very talkative will have to negotiate turn taking more than they would normally do. All in all, the more people students talk to, the more they will learn. The more comfortable they will feel with the foreign language used in general. When we teach an online session, it is best if group can be facilitated and assigned by the teacher, of course, definitely. Preferably before the session start, or at least in a way that we can arrange it before. For example, when the teacher is planning the activities the student will do, she can make a list of partner assignments per activity and send the list to the student, reminding them to have the list handy when the session starts. This is another way to get them involved even before the lesson. This way, students know who they will be working with prior to the session or at the start of the session. And the instructor just can say, okay, everyone, please connect to your partner for activity 2. And you know the activity 2, you are designed to a particular person. So make sure to ask them if they have found their partner and ensure that they have no issue connecting with them at the start of your session. Preparing and posting student groups prior to class is especially helpful in a live online class session because you may not be able to successfully pair students by counting them in number groups. Pointing at them, you can't point when you are in a digital, it's difficult. Where are they? Maybe in my screen you are on the left, but they don't see it in the same way because it depends, they see in another way. So, or telling them to work with the person they are sitting next to, as you would do in a traditional classroom setting. So you have just to prepare in another way. Oh, this is a hint that you can use an automated group generation. Then later we're going to use them together to see how it works. Or other random selection techniques. There are so many in the internet. I just give you one. But actually, if you go and look into the internet, you find so many ways you can use. For example, this website that is Random List will randomize groups, not just pair, even groups 3, 4, 5, depends on your class, instantly, so that you don't have to do it yourself. So I don't want to stay with them. You know, in a class, sometimes I can even put some notes with the names. I close them down and then we say, okay, this one with this one. But, you know, on digital lesson, you can't. So here is explaining how to do it, but instead of telling everything that you can read it here, we are going to do it directly. So let's go on Random List here. Okay, do you see this page, Random List?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to open, I prepared a sample list. That was a list of students I had in a recent course. So I copied them all. See, there are many. There are 36 people. Copy. I go to here. And where is items here? I copy my name and I paste here. Okay, I got 37. What do I want to do? There are 37. If I want to do pair, of course, I have to do 18 groups. How many? The half. It depends on how many groups do you want to do. For example, I want to divide them not in pairs, but in groups of 5 people. So 36 divided 5 is, help me with mathematics.
No, 26 by 5, you can't divide it.
8 groups. Let's say 8 groups. Okay, 36 people, 8 groups. So I write here 8 groups. And okay. So you see, automatically, he made me 8 groups of 5 people. Okay.
Nice.
For this activity is okay. If I want to do another activity, I do rerun and they change completely. And so nobody is in the same group like it was before. Even in this case, if you have not, I mean, probably you see in this group there are 4, in the other group there are 5, but it's normal because, I mean, it depends if they are all of them. You see here are 3, so you can even change. And this is a very, I mean, it's very useful if you want to group them in an automatical way, and in a way you can share with them. Because what I've done with you, I mean, with kids, let me see. Okay, no, I don't like this group. Let's do another one. Okay, rerun. And we do it in another way. Now we are with them. Okay, we cannot change it because it's the machine that is choosing. It's not the teacher. So that's a fantastic, you know, I've made it. It's really, because I say it's not my fault. You have to stay with them. It's the machine choosing. And so that is working actually. Okay. So here it's just explaining what we have done together. Okay. Now I have prepared a little quiz. Just to see if you were, it was clear, if it was clear enough for you. Of course, for the people, how do you want to, we do it, Gabby? You want to have all the replies right now? Or do you want your teachers to write the replies and send in, and we don't give any answer yet, and we're going to give next time? What do you prefer?
I like the second option.
The second one?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, good. Haha, you're a terrible one.
Yeah.
I knew that. Why do I ask you? Okay, so even the people that are not present now can participate and send their reply.
Exactly. And those who will not be able to be with us next time for various reasons will be able to listen to the recording and get their answers anyways. Okay.
Good. Okay, let's recap. Okay, so to make it more effective, I will ask you to read the quiz. You read the quiz, not me. You just read the quiz and you got the multiple. Of course, it's always the same way. A multiple options. Okay. Question 1. Barbara, would you start?
Just a second. Okay.
Now, can you see it well?
No, I have to. Okay. So I don't understand. What do I have to do? Just answer by.
No, just reading. Just reading. And then you will answer on a separate sheet, on a separate part, and we will
a physical sheet.
Yes.
Okay. So what do you want me to do though? So
just read it.
The question and read the answers. Don't say the answer, okay?
Don't give any answer. Yes.
We're all going to write down the answers by ourselves.
But am
You
I
just reader.
just
Just a reader.
loud?
To
Yeah.
allow me to stop, to relax.
Exactly. Just read it.
Okay. So question 1.
Good.
What 3 things can you do to engage students in an online session? 1, chat, share with videos, video chat. 2, screen share, video chat, audio. 3, screen share, share audio, video chat. 4, share audio, video, screen share, chat.
Okay, so each one will reply. So, Maria, would you read question number 2, please?
So, Paula,
Yeah,
well, you're saying I'm terrible? You're terrible. Look at those questions.
yeah, no, they are in their way, you know, the English way.
Why might some students not want to work why might some students not want to work with together? 1, distance. 2, time constraints. 3, embarrassments. 4, personality conflict.
You can even add something if you think, if you think in the question and answer that is not clear enough, give your options. Helena.
Oh, hello. Question 3. What are possible negative side effects of 2 friends working together? 1, discussing unrelated topics. 2, speaking native language. 3, not getting any work done. 4, all of the above.
Wow, I wonder what the answer to this one
Yeah.
is.
I wonder too.
I wonder what the answer to this one is.
Some they're too easy, but you know, I'm not so bad anyway.
One, the first one and number 2 were bad.
Yeah. Okay, Vale.
Okay, question 4. How does switching pairs for each activity benefit shy students? 1, it doesn't benefit them. 2, they get a chance to speak more than they might normally. 3, they will learn less. 4, they will speak to fewer people.
Okay. Gabby.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, question 5. What happens when 2 more dominate and outgoing students work together? They become shy.
Some of them are very fun.
Lovely.
They argue about how to complete a task. They negotiate turn taking. They talk louder.
All of them.
Except shy.
You don't have all of the above. Well, yeah, except that.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is Barbara again?
Oh, yeah. Can't you see? Okay, I have to read. Why is it beneficial to switch pairs for each activity? 1, students will learn more and get more chance to speak. 2, students will not get stuck with someone they don't like. 3, students who are friends will not distract each other. And 4, all of the above.
Hey.
Asada. Who wants? Mary? Maria?
Yeah.
She's
Okay.
muted.
Yeah.
Frozen?
No, she's muted.
Is she?
Why?
Her mic is off.
Oh,
There.
sorry.
Okay, she's
Yes.
coming.
Am I supposed to read the question?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. What are possible challenges of putting students in pairs in an online session? 1, you may not be able to use hand gestures to put them in groups. 2, you may not be able to count them and group them by number. 3, you cannot ask them to work with a person sitting close to them. 4, all of the above.
Okay, question 8. What is a good way to facilitate pair work for an online session? Check all that apply. When the session starts, tell them to pick a partner. When the session starts, share your screen and show them their groups on a list. Before the session starts, send students a list of partners for each activity. When the session starts, ask them who they want to work with.
So now you have to check all that apply, so not just one reply. Okay, this questionnaire I've taken from a course that I followed with an American university. At the end of the course, to give you the certificate that you paid for, they want you reply to this kind of questions. At the beginning, I thought they were stupid questions. But actually, they explained that they are useful as notes to fix what we have just done. You know, I think that even if some they are so obvious, it seems even an offense to our brain to ask for it. But they explained that they are made. Just because some of the people, they do not, they are following courses, they do not take any notes. And this last questionnaire is like taking note of everything is actually important in the syllabus. Okay, so at the end of this, I have here we have all the article that I was mentioning you at the beginning, and I really recommend you to read it because it's really interesting if you want to know something more on digital world, not on this period of digitalization, but on digital world, because he's a real expert of it, and he's writing also many articles in English. And I think that we've done up to now. So tell me your questions and your comments.
Okay, are you going to share the recording by, let's say, tomorrow, so that whoever didn't, even tonight, so whoever didn't have the chance to follow can catch up before Friday?
Yeah, no problem, because just the physical time that I can download everything and put on online. So it's just a physical time that I need, because it's quite early, so I can do it right now and send it to you.
I have a question. Peer work on in a digital classroom, okay?
Okay.
For example, Zoom, because we as teachers, Play with Gabby teachers, use Zoom all the time. How does that work? We have them break out in different rooms?
Yeah, with Zoom, we have the breakout in different rooms. But the thing is that I do not suggest you to use them, because having the room and leaving the students alone.
Yeah.
I mean, you have really to trust them. And sometimes it's not just a matter of trust, but it's a matter that they do wish you stay with them, and you, even if you are not helping because they are working peer-to-peer, but your presence is still more important on the digital session than in the classroom. You know, sometimes when I'm in the classroom and I give them this peer-to-peer working, I say, I'm going out, I'm taking a bottle of water, so I go and taking a coffee. And I go out of the classroom, leaving them alone, and I stay just behind the door. And sometimes it works perfectly, sometimes it doesn't. So, you know, that depends on you. On the digital way, I wouldn't suggest it, even with adults, because once they feel it's tiring to stay on a computer. It's tiring for them, it's tiring for us.
Then do you
So-
suggest for peer-to-peer work, you wouldn't suggest communicative tasks because it's going to become like a big, loud chatting sort of thing for everyone?
That's why I was suggesting you a pair work where they work and all the rest of the group is listening what they have done.
Perfect.
Okay?
I missed out on, so it needs to be, it's like the chain basically.
Is the chain, yes, but we give the support of working with somebody else.
Yeah,
Yes.
excellent. Perfect.
Completely the
Okay.
same.
That
Even the chain on a digital class is difficult because you have to follow an order. You don't have physical orders. So
No.
if you are speaking, you are at, for example, here I got Maria near me, and just below I got Barbara and then you. But now if Barbara is speaking, she's became in the near me in my screen, on my screen I mean. So it's really difficult to have an order unless you can do it. You give a number to each and you say, now put your number in front of you and number one is started, but it's even difficult because they have to watch who is number two, oh, it's been number, you know, it's getting confusing.
We have kids choose who to ask. As in, if we're a group right now, and I say, for example, Paula, how are you? And you say, fine, thank you. And then I say, Paula, can you ask the same question to someone else? You choose. Then you get to
Okay.
choose among everyone, and you will say, how are you, Valentina, today?
That is fantastic, but in a digital classroom, I'm afraid that you run the risk to have too many stuff. Because in a class, they say, Barbara, no, Valentina, no, you can't allow this during a digital classroom because you have to keep, I mean, the rhythm has to be much more faster and faster, unfortunately, because anytime you stop, no, this is not good in the digital way. Unfortunately, unless you really have the class. You know the class, they know each other, they work together, they are used to.
That's why it worked, because it was, because we did this during lockdown with the courses we already had on.
Good.
But I guess, yes, the children did know each other and we knew the children very well. If you, yeah, it makes sense. If it's like a completely new class where you don't even get to physically know the kids, but it's just in video, in a video sessions and the kids don't know each other, yes, then that probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think that anyway, what the teacher decide, it's right. I just trust the teacher is like the customer is always right. And what I always say to my kids, my class, my rules.
Exactly.
And so I decide the rules like a judge. So even when we play a game, I'm the only one that can say, okay, now stop it, because you have to manage. You have to manage. There's nothing to do. I mean, it's something that we usually do. It's our job. But in a digital class, like you say at the beginning, we have to be not more strict, but more careful on rules. We cannot say, okay, now free time, you do whatever. No, you can't.
No.
You can say, we finish 5 minutes earlier. That you can do. You finish 5 minutes earlier, but then you have to face the parents because you say, why the lesson was finished before the time given? And so you have to be very, very careful on timing. That's why I was always speaking, when you are doing a plan, a lesson plan, doing the timing as well, because each activity has to be really, I mean, on paper is what you do. And then, of course, during your lesson, you know what to do. But, you know, with some hints, that's what I'm going to do it. It's just giving you hints. I'm not telling you what to do in a class because you are in the class and you know what to do. But we are just sharing some hints. If you got some more hints, like for example, the group in the automatical group, another hint that I used that is fantastic and it was working really good, it's the bomb. So I give you, okay, I give you 1 minute, and then there's a online, you know, the bomb that you are, and then they, okay, now the time is finishing, boom, 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 and there's a big explosion, and they love it, but it's very useful because they know, they learn how to make a job in a certain time.
Exactly.
Important when they will grow. I mean, with teenagers, of course, you have to do
It's important in physical class to always give a timing for their activities. Always. They will last forever. Like, you've got 15 minutes to draw this, and that's all.
That's it. Now I have to color it. Some of them, they're so slow.
Sorry, time is up. Exactly.
That's it. So you got a bomb, I got a bomb, but the bomb is exploding. Now finish. And they do not care. I mean, they don't say, oh, I want you to finish. No, because they've been killed by bomb. So they accept it. They accept it. So, you know, these things. Okay, girls.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you for the passion that you you show me. And see you next time. I don't remember exactly the date, but you do.
Wednesday. It's next Wednesday, same
Wednesday. Okay.
next Wednesday.
Thank you.
And next Friday.
Okay. So
right after.
if you want, now that we have done this first unit, if you want something that is, maybe it's more important to you and I don't realize that it's important to you, and you want to ask me, I can prepare something on purpose. So let me know if there's something regarding the digital classroom that you want to go deeper, or to have some hints, or to have some tools, and ask me so I can, I mean, it's not a fixed problem. I've given to Gabby a program, a plan, but we can change it, we can add something, we can move it.
You can, you have the plan on the Rainbow chat. I shared the plan with you, right?
Okay.
As in, so take a look at it. If there's something else you guys want to see, just let me know and I'll let Paola know. Just don't come up on Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Please. No, because usually I'm working during Sunday. I prepare everything by Sunday because I want to have the last day. Today I didn't do anything because that's one of my faults. I have to prepare everything in advance.
So
I don't want to arrive at last minute. Last minute for me is it's thrilling. No, I can't. I can't. So okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay. Perfect. And see you next time. And I'm going to send you immediately everything.
Okay. Thank you. I can put it up. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Everybody. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.